Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Craig Sports. This is the MLB DFS Core Pick video for Tuesday, April 1st. If you're joining me for the very first time, first of all, welcome in. Second of all, this is how today's video will be structured. We'll be going over my core picks. It's going to be one pitcher, four hitters. That's going to be based on a combination of past performance versus their respective opponent, as well as some recent history. Obviously, we're going to be relying a little bit more on the past performance since it's very early on in the season. And then after that, we'll get moved over to my cheat sheet and talk about my top GPP teams to stack for tonight's slate overall. Going to make for a very interesting Tuesday slate overall. But without further ado, we'll get right into it with the core picks. At the pitcher position, I have Luis Severino here of the Athletics. He is $9,000 going against the Chicago Cubs. He's got some pretty decent history versus them in the past. He had 58 and 40 points versus them last year in 2024. Very solid start to the year for him with 40 points in his first start of the season and is coming off a decent spring training, so definitely do like his upside once again, looking more like that Luis Severino that we did see back in his Yankee days. And then we move down to second base with Jorge Polanco. He is $2,600. He's going against the Detroit Tigers. Casey Mize is the expected starting pitcher for that Detroit team. And Jorge Polanco's had some pretty good success versus Casey Mize throughout his career. 5 for 14 with 2 home runs. And if we look at what Jorge Polanco's done as of late, he is on a modest 3-game hit streak. He's only got one double-digit performance, one multi-hit game. That was the very first game of the season, and he did homer in that game as well. So there is potential upside to be had there with him. He's hitting 500 on the season, 1 home run, 3 RBIs, averaging just over 12.5 fantasy points per game. Then we move down to third base with Manny Machado. He's $3,700. Obviously, it was a big game for him to start off the year once again, but he's going against the Cleveland Guardians. Logan Hall is the expected starting pitcher for them. Manny Machado 1 for 2 with 1 home run versus him in his career. And if we look at what Machado's done so far in the season, he's hitting 2 out of the 4 games, has a 1 multi-hit performance, which was the initial game of the season where he did also steal 2 bases, dealing with a little bit of calf soreness at this point in time. 231 average, 0 home runs, 2 RBIs, averaging just over 12 fantasy points per game at $3,700, but definitely do like his upside versus Logan Hall and this Cleveland Guardians team. Then we move down to his teammate at shortstop with Xander Bogaerts. You could also play him at second base if you really want to do so. However, we have Jorge Polanco here for this core picks. But Xander Bogaerts, $3,000. He's 1 for 2 versus Logan Allen in his career. And if we look at what Xander Bogaerts has done so far in the season, he's hitting 3 out of the 4 games, 3 double-digit performances, 0 multi-hit games, 0 home runs, but definitely do like the upside that he could produce at $3,000. And, if he is able to get a home run in this game, would even propel that a little bit further. If he gets a multi-hit performance, anything else like that. Been really solid to start off the year with a 273 average, 0 home runs, 2 RBIs, averaging just over 13 fantasy points per game on the season. Then we're going to move down to outfield with Jorge Soler. There's not a lot of outfielders that I love today, so I ultimately end up on Jorge Soler here. Going against Matthew Liberatore of the St. Louis Cardinals. Jorge Soler is a guy that has typically hit left-handed pitching very well in the past, and he is 1 for 1 versus Matthew Liberatore in his career. And if we look at what he's done so far in this season, he's on a modest 3-game hitting streak. He does have 1 double-digit performance, no multi-hit games. There is some upside to be had there at that. 222 average, 0 home runs, 1 RBI, averaging just over 7 fantasy points per game on the season, but betting on some of that upside with Jorge Soler. I'm not particularly looking to stack the Angels as a whole, but if you want to get to some Jorge Soler, some Mike Trout, I think there definitely is upside versus Matthew Liberatore, who's been very, very hit or miss throughout his young career. But with that being said, if you go with the 5 players that I do currently have listed here, you have $13,800 remaining, just over $3,400 remaining per player, so a good amount of money left over. Definitely have some opportunities to pay up for some higher priced players. Obviously, you can pay down for guys like Wilmer Flores, who's got really good history versus Hayden Wesneski as well. He was kind of like my 5th guy here, but I wanted to get that outfielder in there, so if you want to play Wilmer Flores, definitely do understand that as well. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to my cheat sheet and talk about my top GPP teams to stack. So we're going to start off with that San Diego Padres team. Obviously, 2 of those players were in my core picks going against Logan Allen. Logan Allen was very, very hittable last season. I don't think he had the greatest spring either, so was good enough to get that 5th rotation spot for the Cleveland Guardians, but how long does he hold on to that spot? I think the Padres have a lot of upside versus him just in general, although it is a very small sample size versus him. Then we have the Kansas City Royals going against Chad Patrick of the Milwaukee Brewers. Brewers pitchers have really struggled to start off the year. Royals did do pretty well versus them on Monday. Would expect that trend to continue once again. And then last but not least, I have the San Francisco Giants going against Hayden Wesneski of the Houston Astros. Not a long list of history there, but some of those guys have hit him pretty good in the past, whether that is Wilmer Flores, whether it's Willy Adames or Heliot Ramos. Definitely a lot of options out there for that Giants team, and think it could be a potential upside spot, although I would not be surprised if Hayden Wesneski does look like a better pitcher now that he is in that Houston Astros organization. But with that being said, those are the three main stacks that I do have for the slate overall. Obviously, feel free to mix and match as you do see fit. There's a couple other potential ones that are kind of maybes out there as well. If you're interested in more notes on the MLB DFS slate, definitely be sure to check out the Patreon page where I do break down the pitchers, whether I consider them in play, a risky play, or a straight up avoid, as well as notable hitter versus pitcher matchups and some additional potential stacks overall. Very small monthly donation over there. But with that being said, that's what I do have in terms of my core picks as well as top GPP stacks for Tuesday, March 1st. As always, if you have any questions related to MLB DFS, be sure to drop them down in the comments section, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. And then in the morning, I'll be posting the weather report. Unfortunately, for Monday, my typical source did not have that weather coming out right away, so I wasn't able to have kind of those full updates until like the early afternoon, so definitely do apologize for that, but definitely look out for that in the comments section, as well as many of the starting lineups that I can get to throughout the afternoon and early evening. If there's any updates to the core whatsoever, pretty much if a guy doesn't ultimately end up starting, we'll list that there as well. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we have the MLB DFS Core Pick videos Monday through Friday. I have my UFL DFS video going up once a week, typically on Tuesdays. It might be Tuesday, it might be Wednesday this week. We just kind of have to see how the rest of the week plays out. And then I will also be dropping some NFL draft content, especially as we do head into the actual NFL draft. And then last but not least, if you're interested in prop betting, if you're interested in sports betting, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for BetUS, Parlay Play, and Prize Picks. If you're a brand new user on any one of those three sites, when you sign up, make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For Prize Picks and Parlay Play, it's 100% match up to $100. And then for BetUS, it's 125% match up to $2,000. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. If you have any other additional questions related to that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comment section of this video or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for today's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in MLB DFS for Tuesday, April 1st.